to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink, cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars, crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah.
I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight into the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't...
Well.
That's my fucking line, you bitch.
But it's what? It's Friday night and we are all in.
Yeah, what he said.
Hey up, guys.
What he said.
Cheers.
Yeah, over there. Cheers. How are we all this evening? Doesn't matter what platform you are on, be it Twitter, be it Twitch, be it YouTube, be it Rumble. Hope you are all well.
I'm looking a bit orange.
John, you're looking a bit orange because you've been on the old Trump tanning bed, haven't you?
I missed the Trump. No, I haven't.
Yeah, that is the angry old guy that points to the sky, Craig. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Sky.
Points to the sky, screams at the sky. You know, this is what happens. So where do you want to start tonight then, John? There's a few places.
There's a surfeit of stuff to talk about tonight, isn't there? I mean, I'm gonna have to turn the light on, am I? That's weird.
Yeah, you are looking a bit orange.
Why is it gone so orange? That's weird.
I don't. It's you, man. It's you.
Oh, I know what's wrong. White balance on the camera.
There you go. White balance hasn't been sorted. See, technical difficulty would not be a Chasing Dissent show without technical difficulties. But now the old bastard, he's just gone. Look, he's not even there. So, and he didn't even have the common courtesy to put me big screen the
that
fucking
better?
Back. Yes.
More?
No, fine. Did not even have the.
That good?
Yeah, that's fine. That's much better. Like I was just telling them, you didn't even have the common courtesy to put me big screen while you just got up and walked off.
No, I didn't, because that's us just we're just in, aren't we? We're just in the door. Got to settle down.
Yeah, got to settle down. Got to ease them into it, haven't we?
Yeah.
Got to ease them into it. Right. Where should we start? Come on. Tell me where. Do you want to start with what I was talking to you about earlier on, and get that out of the way with, or should we start somewhere else?
What, the dumpster thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
right. Talk to me about this dumpster thing. I'm intrigued. You say that this dumpster thing is really dumpster diving is really floating your boat or whatever.
Making me angry.
Making you angry.
Right. Put up the picture. Mm-hmm. I want to set this context up, right? And you have no idea what I'm talking about. So
no, that just looks like what? What is that?
That's a picture I took on my TV earlier. Right? That's a YouTube channel.
Right.
And that YouTube channel is called Retail Waste Exposed. And I came across it by chance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's a guy who does nothing but go around the dumpsters of Lakeside Shopping Centre and other places in Kent.
Okay.
Of places like Smith's Toys, Marks and Spencer's, Iceland, and sees what brand new, completely fine, completely usable shit that these shops just throw away for landfill. And it is thousands and thousands of pounds worth of stuff. And Smith's Toys are the bloody worst offenders, right? There are kids in this country, all over this country, in poverty, that their parents can't afford to get nice things and nice toys for their kids. And in the back of these Smith's Toys, there are dumpsters full of brand new toys that the staff have sat there and taken hammers and spray paint to, so that nobody can have them, so that they can go to landfill. And it's really making me quite angry.
Why are they doing that? Why aren't they giving it to charity shops and stuff?
You tell me. You tell me the answer to that, because they are taking hammers and they are taking spray paint and they are destroying these things. And sometimes this guy just comes across bags and bags and bags of completely fine, brand new stuff, electronic stuff that he'll sit there and test, and it's all working. They had, them kids ride-ons, like police bikes that the kids can sit on, and the electric ones and ride on. Yeah. Found one of them, completely brand new, completely fine, completely working, in the dumpster out the back, riding along on it.
That's weird.
Weird? It's disgusting, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
that
disgusting.
No, you're right. You're right. So
And
that's just not right.
well, it's not right. And like I said, there are kids all over this country that could benefit from those toys. Those toys could go to a food bank, and a food bank could distribute those toys, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of food banks, the Marks and Spencers and the Icelands are the biggest offenders as far as I'm concerned, because they just have dumpsters full of short-dated food. And I'm talking sandwiches, wheelie bins full of sandwiches that have gone out of date that day that could have been given
Yeah.
away to somebody who
Well,
needed them.
Maybe you should go along to Smith's and ask them for comment.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I really am thinking about it, because this has really got my goat up, because I'm not a man of means. You know that.
Yeah.
You know, in that exact Smith's Toys that he was dumpster diving last Christmas, I spent £500 on my wife and children,
Yeah.
right? In that exact one.
Yeah.
And I struggled and saved to be able to do that for Christmas. And just after Christmas, they have literal dumpsters full of brand new toys that they have destroyed. It just makes me sick. It makes me
Because
sick.
They're probably not going to sell them next year, and they don't want to send them back. Is that it?
Mm.
They can't send them back.
Trudy says in the chat, playgroups and kid centres would be thrilled to get donated toys. Absolutely, they would. If they are fine, if they are completely usable, why are they destroying them and sending them to landfill when they could make a child happy? I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Artifacts and Realities is junk from China. Ultimately, it is junk from China.
Oh,
Ultimately,
everything's
you're
junk from China. For Christ's sake, your iPhone's junk from China,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Well, yeah, but ultimately, if that junk from China can lift up a
Yeah.
kid and maybe their parents and make them happy, isn't that better
Yeah,
than sending it to landfill?
I think so. I think so. I truly do.
Well, yeah, that's what I think, and I think that this, and like I said, the food as well, the vast amounts of food they're throwing away. He went through one Marks and Spencer's wheelie bin and pulled out over 50 bottles of beer, brand new, completely sealed. Put them in his. We was watching one earlier. He went into an Iceland dumpster and pulled out like over 40 cans of Thatcher's cider that had a year's left of date on them. Brand new, completely sealed.
And yet Morrison's were selling Lindt chocolate that was 3 months out of date and didn't know.
Yeah.
Because I went up to the till with it and I goes, surely this should be discounted. And she goes, oh no, we can't sell that. Well, I says, well, you maybe better take it off the shelves then. Because there's freaking,
Chris.
there's a whole shelf of it.
Yeah, Chrissy's saying in the chat that they're told to do it by corporate. It breaks the staff's heart to do it. They are told to slash clothing, cut up bags, and smash things.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Harold. Thatcher's ain't nice, but the point of the matter is,
Yeah, that's
this
not
is
the point.
the completely usable stuff that doesn't need to go to landfill, and so much food being wasted when we have a cost of living crisis, when we have an absolute cost of living crisis, and they're throwing away wheelie bins and dumpsters full of food, these shops, on a daily basis, and it could be used. It could, even if they say, oh, well, a food bank won't take it because it's going out of date today. Last hour of your opening, give it away. Just give it away.
Yeah. So whoever in the Twitch chat, and for God's sake, man, come over to Rumble or YouTube.
Yeah.
Because both of them are likely to be monetized at some point. Rumble is already monetized. I think we've earned 25 cents.
25 cents
25 cents in a year.
in a year.
But on that point, I'd like to thank people who are donating to us, especially those on Ko-fi and Patreon, because they're still coming in and we're getting there slowly and surely. But yeah, thank you very much. And everybody who donates, no matter how much or how little, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
We do. And so my apologies.
Oh, anyway,
for
sorry.
getting
Whoever was saying he missed the dwarf. The dwarf in the new intro. I might run it as the outro.
one of the people said you were a way to slap a dwarf when you get up to change the light on. He's a way to slap when you got up to change the light on. One of the comments popped up said he's a way to slap the dwarf.
I'm working on something, and you'll like it. Well, you might not, but I'll like it.
I'm sorry for being so animated there. I don't know if I should apologize, but this has really got my goat up. It really has, because it's a fucking scandal in this day and age what is going on. And I know it wasn't funny, but it's not funny. It's not funny.
No, it's not funny. It's
Not funny at all. Anyway, should we move on, John? Let's please lighten the mood, sir.
Well, do you want to lighten the mood, or you want to talk about Crowder thing?
Should we get the serious stuff out of the way with then?
Yeah, let's get the serious stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the Crowder thing.
We'll have to give context.
Yeah. You're probably best placed to do that, because you're a man who's good at giving context.
So, Stephen Crowder is the largest quote-unquote American conservative YouTuber on YouTube. John, what have you done to my screen?
No, that wasn't... That was strange. There was a... Right, so you should actually be there. There's a...
There we go. Am I looking better now?
It wasn't there earlier, that window, was it?
No.
Where the hell did these windows come from?
I don't know.
Right, there we go. How's that? It wouldn't be Friday Night All In if it wasn't fucked up.
Exactly.
In some manner.
Craig says, what's going on with Ben being sponsored with Coca-Cola and Monster? The wife got me that for Christmas just to piss off John. And that's the only reason she got me this.
Oh, she got it to piss off me?
Yeah.
Why?
Because she was like, John always tells you to stop drinking Coke. Here's a Coke thing to hang up behind you during the show just to niggle him.
I'm only looking out for you, you know?
Anyway, we'll put a pin in that. Stephen Crowder, Louder with Crowder, the largest conservative YouTuber on the platform. I think I have a few million subscribers at least, I think. Released a video a few days ago, basically accusing the Daily Wire, because the Daily Wire outed themselves, of...
Well, he actually didn't accuse anyone other than Big Con, which is just a generic term. Yeah, for big tech.
Okay. Accusing them of exploiting creators through contracts which are, to say the very least, hostile. He didn't actually name anybody at that time, did he, John?
No, he didn't.
But he said that conservative companies are punishing YouTubers and up-and-coming creators because if you sign with them and they pay you a fee, they then take big percentages off your fee if you are punished by big tech. So if big tech give you a strike, or big tech demonetize you, or they take you down off their platforms, you start losing big percentages of your feed from these so-called companies which are alleging that they want to fight big tech censorship, when in actual fact all they are doing with these, I would say, predatory contracts is emboldening big tech to do these things, and emboldening pile-ons, and emboldening the far left to pile on people, because it shows that boycotts will work. Because not only will big tech punish the creator, the so-called conservative overlord is also the one that's supposed to be fighting the censorship of the big tech. It's going to do big tech's bidding and punish you even further. It's really quite
Yeah, so he said that. He came out with it and he said he doesn't want to be a part of the system, and he wants to basically start his own kind of conservative network for YouTubers and for other people to provide a platform that's not going to lock you into these restrictive contracts. Yeah. And it's going to let people flourish and do their own thing and build their own brands without having the sword of Damocles hanging over them. Because when you saw his response, some of the actions that they take on the contracts are really restrictive.
They're punitive, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, if you miss like what, 1 or 2 episodes, you get 20% taken off your overall wage.
Yes.
If you get demonetized, you'll get 20% plus 20% of everything you've already put up.
But it was a dock of $100,000 an episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's mental. I mean, it's a lot of money, and you'd lose a lot, and you might not even be making that kind of money at that point.
You might not.
So
The Daily Wire kicked back, didn't they?
Yeah, well, they outed themselves. Because...
They said that this contract came from us, but it wasn't a contract. And see, this is where I have to say, yes, Stephen is right, but also the Daily Wire in their response were not wrong. Okay?
Yeah.
They were not wrong.
But again, in their first response, the
You
Daily
need to put
Wire...
yourself, put us both up together.
Sorry, the Daily Wire did... what did the Daily Wire do in the first response? They banged on about money.
Yeah, they did. They said we offered Stephen Crowder $50 million. They said we offered him, but it was...
Over 4 years.
It was a non-binding pre-contract agreement. So it was a non-binding agreement and it was completely negotiable at that point. And everything was negotiable within that contract. However, this is where I want to push back against the Daily Wire a bit, because everything is negotiable for Stephen Crowder. Because Stephen Crowder is Stephen Crowder.
Yeah, and this is where Vaughn, it might be negotiable. Then again, it might not, because when Stephen recorded the phone call he had with, what's his name, Jeremy, from the Daily Wire, Jeremy was heard to say, well, they can just come over here and be wage slaves for a couple of years.
That's talking about, say, us, or someone like us.
They can come over and be wage slaves for 2 or 4 years and build their brand, and then they can go elsewhere. But when you go elsewhere, you don't get to take the content with you.
No, you don't. You don't get to, and even if you've produced it yourself, because that was another thing. They were going to pay Stephen, so they were going to pay him $50 million, $12.5 million a year. That was negotiable. Would have probably been more like $80 million if they come to an agreement, right? So let's say $80 million. That was $20 million a year. To produce the show himself, completely produce it by himself. And basically all the Daily Wire would do is distribute the show. Yeah, that's basically all they would do. They would pay for the production and distribution of the show, but all of the actual work would fall on the Crowder team. Now, all of that work that they did then no longer belongs to them. Yeah. It no longer belongs to them, because even when they leave, they can't take that work with them. Whereas, yes, Crowder was under a contract at the Blaze before he was at. He's not in contract with anyone now, but he was in all of the Louder with Crowder stuff that he made whilst at the Blaze belongs to Louder with Crowder, and it's come with them, and you can completely watch it all back. He's no longer at the Blaze, but you can keep watching that content. Crowder would not be able to put out, market, or even speak of that content without permission from the Daily Wire. And that's the same for any small and up and coming creator. And this is where I rejoin Crowder's side. Because if they're going to do this, if they're going to punish, and it is punishment, small creators and give them and lock them into these punitive contracts. And yes, granted, someone like me or you, if we went across there, they would probably produce everything. Right? We wouldn't have to produce it. We'd just turn up and speak to a camera. They'd turn on the lights, they'd turn on the cameras, we'd speak to it. But the point of the matter is, you're then not able to be yourself. And the reason you're not able to be yourself and maybe not able to speak what you really think about subjects is because you are beholden to these punitive clauses. Now, in some respects, me and you, John, we already sort of mitigate the things that we say on this platform.
Yeah, but self-censor to a degree.
To a degree, and that's because we want to stay within their rules. But we know that if we fuck up or they deem us fucking up, it is us versus them. Yeah. It is not us versus someone who is supposed to be supporting us versus them. Yeah. And that middleman...
And to be fair, that middleman's more on the side of big tech than he is on us.
Yeah.
Because it's big tech that's making them the money, not us.
Well, exactly. Exactly. Big tech is paying most of their bills. You know, all the millions of the dollars that the Daily Wire has, most of it's coming out of the YouTubes, the Spotifys, the places like that. And I don't begrudge them their business model, but I think that these contracts, they need to change, because if you're going to employ somebody and you're going to offer them this amount of money to produce this content, and then some arbitrary person in Silicon Valley says, we don't like that person, their content's got to go away. Yeah. You shouldn't be punishing your own creator. You shouldn't be. And in that respect, I stand with Stephen Crowder. I don't think that clause should be in anybody's contracts, because they know, the Daily Wire know more than most, that they are already targets. There's a target on their back the second they sign with the Daily Wire, or they sign with Stephen Crowder or anybody like that. Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's just...
Right. So then we get others jumping into the fight.
Like Candace Owens.
Yeah, but even before that, you got the Babylon Bee, right?
What are they doing?
Well, the Babylon Bee jumps in on the side of the Daily Wire. But no, they don't really, because the Babylon Bee jumps in and says, he's talking about us. We are Big Con. So the Babylon Bee think it's about them. I don't think he was in negotiation with the Babylon Bee.
No, he wasn't.
So
I
the
think it was
Babylon Bees just being a bunch of look
They're
at
being
us,
trolls.
look at us, we're big.
No. They're being trolls
Are they?
because they're doing the Babylon Bee is predominantly set up to be satire and trolling. They are just doing what they do.
Okay, so
right?
they've jumped in. Candace Owens has jumped in,
Oh yeah, she has, and
Ben Shapiro's jumped in.
and they've both jumped in on the side of it's all about money.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's all they've spoke about. They've really said nothing about the contracts. They've just said it's all about the money. They're saying Crowder wanted 120 million and he wasn't going to get that, so he walked away. Now, I really don't think it's about the money. I mean, the one thing Crowder never mentioned, he never mentioned money.
No, he didn't. And also, in his second response, he literally turned around and said, "I'm the guy that has walked away from $50 million. I've walked away from $50 million because I don't like this clause in their contracts."
Yeah.
And that is, as far as I'm concerned, in complete contrast to the Daily Wire, money where your mouth is.
Yes, it is. That's true.
Yeah. He's literally walked away from $50 million.
Have you come to a conclusion? Are you on one side or the other at the moment?
I am. If I was to ever think about joining a network, it would be Stephen Crowder's.
Yeah.
Because the promises he's making to his creators sound appealing. He will never take control of their social media, because that was another clause in the Daily Wire's contract. Apart from your personal pages, they were going to take control of all of your social media. Really? Also, they were gonna introduce, I think it was 4 ad reads a show.
Yeah.
And if you didn't read those ad reads for those products that the Daily Wire told you, they would start docking you tens of thousands of dollars a show.
Yeah. Imagine if you forgot an ad read and lost 20 grand.
Well, this is it. This is it.
I mean, we would forget everything. We'd be shite. Wouldn't we?
Well, I think, personally speaking, if they wanted me to let's say advertise Helix Sleep or some shitty mattress like that, like they do, I go, well, I don't have a Helix mattress. Why would I advertise it?
Yeah. So let's talk about big tech while we're on the subject.
Yes, let's talk about big tech. What would you like to talk about?
Well, first of all, big tech has said that the Azov regiment no longer meets the criteria for being a dangerous organization on Facebook or Instagram, says Meta.
Despite the fact they haven't changed and there's still a whole bunch of NAZIs.
Yeah. Despite they've not made any changes, they're still behaving like the scum and thugs that they are. And they've done nothing. They no longer meet the criteria to be a dangerous organization. And I think that's purely because Ukraine bad, Ukraine good, Russia bad.
It sounds very plausible, John.
That's all there is to it. And then of course, the other one, what is it? Google says the Wagner Battalion is now a terrorist organization, and they're boosting their searches and information on them.
Are they now the Russian Azov?
Yes. So basically, they've switched the Azov to from being the bad guys to the Wagner Battalion or whatever it's called.
But the Azov are still the bad guys, just as much. Even if the Wagner are the bad guys, right? Even if they are bad guys,
I know that.
The Azov are still bad guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, they are.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, well done, Big Tech. Well done. And if you are enjoying this show so far, I know it's been pretty, serious so far. But please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you want more people to come and join us in the chat, hit the share button. That's very, very important. But those likes during the stream are very important, so please hit them. Thank you very much if you already have done. But this, John, so Azov, who are Nazis.
Yeah.
are still Nazis.
Yeah.
Are no longer bad.
They're not
because
not in the
Ukraine.
eyes of Facebook and not in the eyes of Facebook and Instagram.
Because Ukraine.
Because Ukraine. Yeah.
Because Ukraine.
Yeah. I mean, America's hit its debt ceiling, right? Or it's nearly hit it, and they've shuffled some money around to try and avoid hitting it.
They'll just raise the bloody debt
Yeah,
ceiling.
they will. I know they will, but they'll take weeks to do it. So
Yeah.
nothing will happen for weeks now. Everyone will grind to a halt. But I bet they're still sending money to Ukraine.
Of course.
And then Germany's still fanning about, just trying to decide whether they're going to send them Leopard 2s or not. And let's be honest, right? Leopard 2's a bag of shite. This is a 30-year-old tank. You know, this
We
is.
said a load of tanks as well, yeah.
Yeah, we're sending them 30-year-old tanks as well. So basically, it's like the West. Let's get rid of our crap in Ukraine.
Just dump it all
Just
over
dump it there, and the Russians will deal with it, and it'll be up to the Ukrainians to sell it back to us as scrap metal. Yeah.
there. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, well,
but
hey, it's a military-industrial complex at its best, isn't it? Because what does a war do? It generates money for America. And speaking of America and generating money,
America.
what's it going to do? Because things are starting to look a bit ropey for America. Because people are starting to trade things that have always been traded in dollars, i.e. oil and gas. They're starting to trade them in local currencies. You know, like
rubles.
yen and rubles. So where do we go from there? And then the EU government today, or the EU what is the EU? It's not a parliament. It's not a government, is it?
Well, it is a parliament. The EU has a parliament. It's the
It
EU
shouldn't really be
parliament.
called a parliament because it's not elected.
Well, no, the parliament. We have.
Oh
there are
yeah,
people-
that part's
yeah.
elected, but the people that make the actual decisions aren't elected, are they?
I was going to say, you know, the hundreds of people that are elected as MEPs.
Yeah, they can't make
They
policy.
can't actually make any policy.
No, they can
the
only approve it.
Yeah.
In fact, they can only approve it because even if they don't want to approve it, all they can do is delay it. They can't
Exactly,
actually
because-
stop it.
Because they could say no, and the commission will just go
Yes,
"We'll
yes,
do it
yes.
anyway. Or they'll just make them vote again and again and again. He's on the old speckled hen.
The old speckled hen's coming.
Is this your first drink? No, it's not your first drink.
Not my first drink, but it's my first old speckled hen.
So ladies and gentlemen, as you may have been, John's kind of been keeping us updated, but he's been on a fast since Sunday,
Yeah.
and he broke that fast this evening with a curry,
Yes, I did.
and now
I'm
he's
quite
having
full.
well, and then you're drinking a loaf of bread every 5
I
minutes.
know. I know I'm wrong, but you can't drink wine after a curry. It just doesn't taste right.
I have, if I want, some Guinness Zero. See?
Oh, I can't understand why you would do that. Yes, it is
'Cause
decent, Craig. It is. Yeah, I mean that's one thing you English kind of do right. You make some decent beers.
You don't understand why I would get Guinness Zero, because I love Guinness and I don't like alcohol.
Fair dues.
Craig
Fair
says
dues.
he's also on the alcohol-free Guinness. Well, I wonder if it tastes anything. I haven't had a Guinness in 8-9 years, maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, as I was saying about the EU, right?
Yeah.
So these guys are unreal. So they've put another round of sanctions in, and they're crowing about how effective the EU is because all 23 countries
I
act as
saw
one,
that.
right? And I had to ask the question: if they're so effective, these sanctions, why is Russia's declared currency reserves $10 million higher than it was when before the sanctions started?
Because oil, gas, and rubles,
Yeah, and
the gold standard.
And remember, Russia's selling all its gas to China,
Mhm.
who's then selling it back to the EU.
Because for some reason, once it just gets into the South China Sea, it's now Chinese gas.
Well, look at what happens with sending oil to Germany. So
Yeah.
Russia fills its oil tanker up, right? Sails it round the top into Amsterdam, into Rotterdam. Sorry, into Rotterdam. It doesn't dock. It sails into the Rotterdam harbour. It turns around, comes back out, and then goes straight to Germany because it's now Dutch oil. That's incredible, isn't it? I mean, these sanctions are really biting hard on us.
Now, I might not get to that alcohol-free moment, but I'm going to do a little bit of a throwback to Chasing Dissent of old and give you an ASMR moment. Love Can of Monster, John.
That was lovely.
I know. Well, you know, YouTube, they love their ASMR over there. And especially on Twitch, where they got those weird women that sit there licking those fake ears all day, just going...
Yeah. I know.
Jesse says, no, stop it, Ben, stop it. Jesse.
They do, though, they do.
They do. It's rather disturbing, I shall say.
Right, I downloaded some footage today of short people.
Craig just said to me, Ben, you can't have another one of them. He really has never watched this show before, has he?
No, he obviously hasn't. Yeah, but, and he'll finish them before the show's out, no doubt.
That's just... Trudy says, what is ASMR? Oh, yeah, that's a rabbit hole you can go down by yourself.
What does that actually stand for?
It's like... I don't know.
Acoustic sound.
Acoustics. Somebody.
I've tried, Jesse. I can't do it. I've tried.
No, this is the thing.
Yeah, I don't know what ASMR stands for. It's probably something I need to Google, but I'll do that offline. Right. So
is saying he's thinking of starting a tuna mayo ASMR channel. No.
So while we're still on the subject of Ukraine and all that, what about Putin? Right. So I was downloading some footage of Putin today because I wanted to get him walking for the welcome to the party part of the
okay
intro. And there's a clip there of him walking along, right? And Putin doesn't walk like everybody else because he doesn't move his right arm. He doesn't swing his right arm. And I remember people going on about he was ill and there was something wrong with his right arm. But
and they also said he had brain cancer.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with his right arm because he still shakes hands and writes things and everything with it. His right arm works perfectly fine. He still plays judo. You know, he still does judo. Plays judo? He still does judo and stuff. But, you know, he uses his right arm completely normally. There's no sign of any tremors or anything. He just doesn't swing it much when he's walking. He swings his left, but his right arm doesn't. And you know why? It's the gunslinger gait. So the KGB training manual advises them not to move their right arm when they're walking or running, because it should always be ready to either pull their weapon out or be holding their weapon. Therefore, it shouldn't be flailing about. And I mean, this isn't just my theory, right? This was published in the BMJ in 2015. So why is none of the fucking mainstream media picked up on this? Why haven't they been able to tell us? Why do they go off in these wild goose chases?
You're asking the mainstream media why they aren't telling us a fact.
Yeah, well, why are they going off in wild goose chases? Well, remind me of this because I want to come back to the facts once we finish this one. Right, so...
No, I'm not finished.
All right, carry on then.
I'm just sitting here in absolute shock that you're going, why are the mainstream media not saying facts?
Yeah, I know, because it doesn't fit with their narrative. I mean, it's like, let's just generate a story and we'll bend everything to fit our means. It's like science these days. It's like cosmology. It's like, what's his name? You know, I mean, it was in the pre-roll the other day. Michio Kaku, the Japanese guy, the scientist. He's a cosmologist, and he says, cosmology's in disarray. You know, science is normally off to a degree by 10 to the power of 10, maybe at the max, which is 10 with, 10 zeros after it, which is a lot. I mean, that's a lot out, right? He says, but cosmology's, knocking it out the park. Cosmology is so far off the mark, it's out the mark by 10 to the power 120. That's 10 with 120 zeros after it. That's how far away from being right they are. Everything they do in cosmology is wrong. And that includes dark matter, dark energy, gravity waves, black holes. Everything in cosmology is a fucking fabrication. It just comes out their head. It's just something they plucked out their head and thought, let's say that. Redshift even is fucking wrong. Everything in cosmology is wrong. There's nothing right.
Yeah, but what the vast majority of people don't seem to understand, and I'm not going to tell them to believe me when I say this, right? They can come to their own conclusion ultimately, is the vast majority of people, and this is just my opinion, right? Once again, you don't have to agree with me. The vast majority of people floated around by the mainstream media and the social media companies.
Bring your mic in a bit. You got quiet again. I can't keep ramping up your game.
Right, well, the mainstream media and the social media companies, right?
Yeah.
The people that are flouted as quote unquote experts by these people are usually nothing of the sort, first of all. And this is why we've started hearing the phrase everywhere, I'm so sick of experts. And it's like, and then you hear the people push back, oh, you're so sick of experts, really? When they're the experts. Usually they're not. I mean, let's just look at some of the people that have been flouted in the last 3 years as experts that have been pretty much totally incorrect on everything.
Yeah.
Anthony Fauci.
Yeah.
Dr. Hilary Jones.
Yep.
What's his name? Chris Whitty. Sir Patrick Vallance.
Yeah.
Jonathan Van Tam. That Dr. Ranj Singh guy.
Yeah, okay, but you're turning this to a particular thing. I'm talking about
but
current science and legacy science. And the thing is, the legacy science I'm talking about, these guys are the fucking experts. These guys have been there forever.
They just say they are.
No, right, okay. Point. Okay, but we're talking about Hawking, we're talking about, we're talking about Michio Kaku, we're talking about, what's his name, Green. We're talking about the people that are the leaders in the field. And they're wrong.
Yeah, but rarely are they ever proved correct.
Well, you can't prove science correct.
Exactly,
that's the problem.
You can only prove it wrong.
You can only prove it wrong. It's always wrong. But Kaku's at least come out the box and said, it's so fucking wrong, it's unbelievably wrong. And
this is what the vast majority of people don't understand about science. Science isn't some altar to worship at. Okay,
it's not.
Science is a debate, and it always has been. It is about coming up with a hypothesis, and then the rest of the scientists going, "Your hypothesis is wrong."
Yeah, science should always
be
it should be a challenge, always a challenge. Right. So, anyway, back to Putin the gunslinger. Right.
Yeah.
So, no, Harold, the BMJ don't publish articles about guns because it's nothing to do with guns. It's about Putin and the way he walks, right?
Yes.
And they're identifying why he walks like that, and this is their hypothesis. And there's a degree of evidence to back up that hypothesis, because if you look at other senior Russian figures that have been in either the military or KGB, they all walk very similar.
Do you think it's like basically an automatic response from their training and programming drilled into them?
It's ingrained training. It's training. It's like, I mean, when you're trained, and I mean, it's like when I did my advanced driving in the police, I still drive like that because I've driven like that. I was driving for like that in 20 years in the police, and I still drive like that now. And people don't understand because
I tell you what,
my wife sits sorry.
He drives a motorhome like that as well.
Yeah, my wife sits beside me and goes, for fuck's sake, you know, she hates sitting beside me because I don't slow down for corners. There's no need. You know, if you're sitting at the speed limit, you never need to slow down for a fucking corner. I mean, people that, and it frustrates me when people do slow down for corners, but I drive like that all the time because that's how I was taught to drive, and I recognise that every other fuckwit on the road is an idiot when it comes to driving, and they can't touch me. And they can't.
They can't touch me! Oh, aye!
But anyway, so yeah, the only guy who's not been in the military and not been in the KGB was Dmitry Medvedev, the Prime Minister. He walks like Putin, right?
Hmm.
But their theory is that he's been told to mimic him because it's a kind of power walk. Because you do look a bit gallus when you're strolling down with just one hand swinging gently and the other one solid. So it gives you that. Do you remember that? Do you ever watch that program Lex? You know, the science fiction thing. There was a guy in that, the guy that was dead. He used to walk like that.
Okay, John.
Yeah.
Do you have a thought of the day?
I do have a thought of the day. Ben.
Are you ready to roll VT then make yourself big?
Yes, I'm ready to do that. I'm going to make myself big. And you know, you make yourself big when bears come towards you.
I've been making
or
some
bad dogs.
I've been making some new section videos. So let's show them the first one, shall we? Let's do it. John's thought of the day for Friday night.
So, my thought of the day for Friday night is black people are giving white people a hard time on everything, right? Aren't they? You know, white people, in fact, no, I tell you what, I'll rephrase that. White people are giving themselves a hard time on everything to do with black people.
Yes, that's
right?
true.
White people are really, really digging into themselves. And you know, we're not looking very good. We're not looking very big. We're not looking very clever because most of the white people are like, you know, being simps. Dare I say it?
No, most white people these days. When you say most white people, most vocal white people, so far leftists, shall we say, are very self-hating. It would seem.
Yeah, they are self-hating, and that's the kind of point I'm trying to make here. Why did and think about this. Why are there no Neanderthals now? Because Neanderthals were bigger, stronger, more intelligent than humans. Well, bigger brains, right?
I will say,
better adapted.
I look at the current crop of human beings, and I do despair for the most part. There are a fair few of you who are good eggs, but
yeah.
I mean, all you have to do is look at the compliance of the last 3 years.
But my point is, maybe the Neanderthals were beaten down by the white people, not in a physical sense, but in a mental sense. Now, as white people, are we doing that to ourselves right now? Are we effectively eradicating white, or trying to?
Well, I don't think the word "we" is appropriate. First of all.
Well, no, I think we is appropriate because I'm talking about a generalism, okay?
No, because I'm going to say this, and people might disagree with me on this. I think, personally speaking, and John, they can't see the sex appeal while I'm saying this, so let's make it double. But I think, personally speaking, that it's a manufactured thing. You're only hearing it because it's being amplified by these far leftists on Twitter, and it's not the general feeling out there. I don't think it is.
It's not now, but it's going to be. And it's actually no. I think it is starting to get out there because if you speak, I mean, Sean is in my company, right? So you would think that he would be more open to a lot of things than others, right?
Yeah.
But he started to get to the point where he's picking up on all this stuff.
Yeah, but I know who he's working with.
No, this was before he started working with them, right?
Okay.
So he's pushing back on some of the stuff that you say. It's like we're not allowed to criticise black people in his presence. Well, we do, but if you criticise a black person, that you can't do that. And I'm saying, well, you can. If they're wrong, you can criticise anyone. It doesn't. Colour doesn't matter. Let
me say something that might sound incendiary, right? And it's designed to sound incendiary because it's true. If somebody says to you, you can't criticise that person specifically because they're black, that person that said it is probably a racist.
Oh yeah, he probably is.
And they don't know it a lot of the time.
Yeah, but he's an unconscious racist.
Yeah, because
he's going along with what happens in popular culture, and popular culture is turning people against white people.
Yeah, but what that's also doing is pontificating the bigotry of low expectations. And what I mean by that is, in their mind, not the black people, the white people are saying you can't criticize that person because they're black. In their mind, they're looking at that black person and saying because they're black, they are unable to take criticism, or they shouldn't be criticized to the same level that a white person can or should be. And so they're looking at that black person as lesser, and that makes them a racist. I'm sorry, but it does.
Yeah, okay. So let's look at the example of the English cricket team.
Right?
Cricket team? Football team.
Yeah.
Why are they still kneeling down when nobody else is?
I don't know.
And
I don't know.
What are they trying to do? Because
I don't know.
I mean, I don't understand it. I think almost every other team stopped doing it, haven't they?
Yeah, because what is the
And
point?
nobody
also,
should have, to be fair, nobody should have started doing it in the first place.
No, well, nobody should have started doing it in the first place, because it's just a massive virtue signal, for one.
Yeah.
But for two, why did we so heavily start getting involved with a movement that it didn't spring up because of George Floyd? It was around long before then, but came to prominence because of something that happened thousands of miles away. What is that to do with us?
Because we're a satellite state of America.
Well, it would seem so.
Do you not think we are? To a degree. I don't think we're not a big player in the world anymore, are we?
No, I don't think we are. But then at the same time, look at the state of our country. You know, one thing America still has going for it at this time, and it's fragile, by the way, but one thing it still has going for it at this time is its First Amendment. You can actually have conversations, and you can say things that can be deemed offensive, and you can do these things. There's no hate speech laws over in the United States, whereas they just keep tightening them up here. They are trying to get control of your speech. They are trying to get control of your thoughts. They are trying to get control of your minds. Look what they're doing to you lot. And I've said this before on the show, but if you tell an offensive joke at your dinner table, you can be in prison, John.
Yeah, no, allegedly. So the problem, right, and I've been thinking about this and thinking whether I should do a video on it or not, but maybe I'll just bring it up here, okay? Mm-hmm. So my problem that I have is I'm thinking that Russia can't be allowed to fail in Ukraine.
What do you mean?
Right. So here's my take on it.
Right.
And this isn't what America and all that thinks. But our problem is if Russia fails in Ukraine, right, and America wins, that will emasculate Russia. Mm-hmm. Okay? And that's what America want to do. But if America emasculates Russia, okay, what it's trying to do is hang on to its position as superpower. So it wants to emasculate Russia. But Russia is one of the last countries in the world that actually gives you some, believe it or not, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, right? I grew up in the Cold War era, right? Russia was an anathema. Russia was the bad guy. But Russia's one of the few countries in the world
Russia's always been the bad guy.
Yeah, but Russia's one of the few countries in the world now that has proper laws and proper ways of treating people. You know, within its own borders. Yes, it does. You know, it recognises certain things. Okay, maybe it goes too far on others. Okay, but it won't allow all this. Here. It will not allow all this transgender and gender reassignment stuff, and with good reason, because look at the problems it's causing here.
Yeah, and once again,
and there's no way around that, because if you've got a dick and you get put in a women's prison, what do you fucking think's gonna happen? I mean, really, what do you think's going to happen? You know?
I mean, what keeps happening?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and if you've got kids and you've got 11 or 12-year-old girls going into toilets, public toilets, and there's guys in there using them, are you happy about that? Does that make you feel comfortable?
Well, no, and I am a father of a young daughter, and I would not be happy with that.
So yeah, I'm not in favour of this. I mean, you know I'm old and grumpy, right? I'm not in favour of it. You're biologically what you are, and you can't change that no matter how much cutting and surgery you do, right? no matter how you feel or think, you're biologically set as one sex. That's a biological fact, right?
Yes. You know, I agree, right? First of all, I agree. But secondly, I'm also not one to tell adults how they can and can't live their lives, right? And that doesn't mean I can't tell them I don't want them in the same toilet as my daughter, because I don't want a man or a male with a penis in the same
There's a middle ground to be got here, but we are so far past that middle ground that we need someone to pull us back.
Yeah, you're absolutely
and
right.
I think that's Russia, right? And it might be controversial, but Russia are the other way, right?
Yeah.
So we need someone to pull us back, and we need someone to pull them forward. So we need Russia as much as Russia needs us. We don't need Ukraine, because Ukraine...
I think we can agree to disagree here.
Well, right, okay. You might think that, but what does Russia do these days that is so bad that it's an abomination? What does Russia do that Ukraine doesn't? And in fact, Ukraine doesn't do in spades.
No, I agree with you. The thing is, all I want out of life and all I want out of society, realistically speaking, and I know it sounds a bit hypocritical because I'm sitting here talking to people, but I want to be left alone, right? I just want to be left alone. Yeah,
right. So now we're on to a completely different topic, because now we're on to government, right?
Well,
and you're never going to be
a lot of the problem.
You're never going to be left alone when you have a central government that we have that wants to take control of everything and has to take control of everything, because it has this overwhelming urge to keep the people under control and to feather their own nest. Now, look at Nadim Zawawi, right? £3 million he failed to pay the HMRC. £3 million. £3 million he failed to pay. And he says it, and they say, oh, it's okay, he's going to pay it back, so that's all right. You or I had done that. You or I had done that for £1,000, would be in the jail.
Yeah. No, he's right. He is right. He's absolutely right. Feather your own nest, control the population. And the fact that he's now going, oh, I'm going to pay it. He's got £3 million. I don't have fucking 30 quid.
No, I know. I mean, but what gets me is the people that support him, because they support the Conservative Party. It's nothing to do with what Nadim Zahawi did, or the fact that Rishi Sunak didn't wear a seatbelt. They just support the party, right? So they'll say, look, leave him away. The police have got better things to do than investigate someone not wearing a seatbelt. No, they fucking don't, because when they give you a fixed penalty for not wearing a seatbelt, if you turn around and say they've got better things to do, you'll get fucking done again.
Yeah. You're right. You are absolutely. He's. I can't disagree here. I cannot disagree.
So anyway, there we go. I mean, it's maybe a bit out there, right? But I think we need Russia as much as Russia needs us. We need a Russia, and we don't need it as a combatant. We need it as a grounding, or as a yardstick to put ourselves against. Because the countries we don't need to put ourselves against and to measure our stock against are countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, China, right? These are countries we don't want to measure ourselves against as yardsticks. And these are countries that you will find I would volunteer to say that Russia doesn't want to put itself against these countries as yardsticks, basically because Russia aspires to be like us, right? Russia's not Iran. They don't want to be Iran. They don't want to be Pakistan. They don't want to be Afghanistan. They don't want to be China.
Yeah.
They want to be like us.
Well,
when you're talking about the people.
But they've certainly westernized themselves.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
They really have. I mean, up until very recently, McDonald's was there. McRiskies now. Starbucks was there. Stars now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I mean, and they're probably shit. They probably are shit. Okay? Because, Russia's still dragging itself out of the Soviet era. And it's still got a long way to go.
It's turnip coffee, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just not... I don't think that it's... The whole dehumanization thing by Ukraine as well really fucking gets to me, I mean, there was a guy on the other day on a video, and he was a Ukrainian, and he says, He was a soldier because he'd just been fucking humped, right? And this is a rare one because normally you don't see this, but it was a Ukrainian soldier. His unit had been absolutely humped and had been pushed back. And he's going, they just don't fucking stop. They just keep coming. He says we couldn't make any ground and we just get pushed back and back because they won't fucking stop. They won't let it go, right? But that's the Russian psyche because Hitler found that out. You know, look at Stalingrad and all that. You know, the Russians will pull back. They'll give you territory to pull you in so as they can then fuck you. And they'll fuck you hard and they'll fuck you up the ass without any lube. And you won't get a reach around.
Oh.
And that's what they've just done to the Ukrainians in Solidar, haven't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's in Russian hands now.
So, John.
I apologise for that. I've gone a bit OTT
okay.
on that.
That's okay. What we're going to do now, ladies and gentlemen, is we've come to the end of the first hour, practically. And for those who haven't met Henry Hoorah, we're going to have a 5-6 minute intermission. And then we will be back. We're going to have a 5-6 minute intermission where John is going to treat you all to a little bit of spare. Now, John.
No, it's not. I'm not treating them to anything. It's Henry.
Oh, well, John, play him the new intro and then play him the video.
The new intro again?
No, not the new Henry intro. Or have you not got that loaded in? The one that I made today.
You made a Henry? Sorry, you made a Henry intro.
You know I did. The spare book with the library.
Yeah, you did. Where is that?
Have you loaded that in? He hasn't. No.
Was that the one? Was that the one that you did today?
Yeah, the one I did today.
I don't think I've loaded that in.
That's fine. It's fine. Just go with the video, and we'll go with the new intro on Monday.
Sorry.
It's on Twitter. You can go see it on Twitter.
I'm a bad boy.
Tisley on Twitch says, "Have you heard of breathing, John?"
Have I heard of what?
Breathing.
Sorry.
Anyway, roll VT. Let's have a break.
Introduce
Let's talk
your
about-
Lord and Saviour, the spare part in the royal family, Prince Harry.
Why, thank you, Ben. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Harry. You're very welcome.
And I thought I would just continue on from yesterday.
Please
From
do.
where we
We
left
want to hear
off.
some more about your life, Harry. Please, we want to hear.
So moving on to today's reading, we're on page 2.
We've gone very far so far.
I thought of Grandpa's strong opinions, his many passions, carriage driving, barbecuing, shooting,
Casual racism, boy.
food, beer, the way he embraced life. He had that in common with my mother. Maybe that's why he'd been such a fan. Long before she was Princess Diana, back when she was simply Diana Spencer, kindergarten teacher, secret girlfriend of Prince Charles, my grandfather was her loudest advocate. Some said he actually brokered my parents' marriage. Arranged marriage. If so, an argument could be made that Grandpa was the prime cause in my world. But for him, I wouldn't be here. Neither would my older brother. Then again, maybe my mother would be here if she hadn't married. Sorry,
She would definitely be here, boy. We didn't bump her off or anything.
I need to turn the page.
We definitely did not bump her off. I promise. Go back to casual racism now.
I recalled one recent chat, just me and Grandpa, not long after he turned 97. He was thinking about the end. He was no longer capable of pursuing his passions, he said. And yet the thing he missed most was work.
Listen, boy. Listen, boy. There is a tribe of old dark people that worship me as a god, and I can't go and see them anymore.
Without work, he said, everything crumbles. He just didn't seem sad, just ready. You have to know when it's time to go, Harry. I glanced now into the distance towards the mini skyline of crypts and monuments alongside Frogmore, the royal burial ground. Final resting place of many of us, including Queen Victoria, also the notorious Wallace Simpson, also her doubly notorious husband Edward, the former king and my great-great-uncle. After Edward gave up his throne for Wallace, after they fled Britain, Both of them fretted about their ultimate return. Both obsessed about being buried right here. The Queen, my grandmother, granted their plea, but she placed them at a distance from everyone else, beneath a stooped, plain tree. One last finger wag, perhaps. One final exile, maybe. I wondered how Wallace...
just peasants, Harry.
I wondered how Wallace and Edward felt now about all their fretting. Did any of it matter in the end? I wondered if they wondered at all. Were they floating in some airy realm, still mulling their choices, or were they nowhere, thinking nothing? Could there really be nothing after this? Does consciousness, like time, have a stop? Or maybe I thought, just maybe, they're here right now, next to the fake Gothic rune, or next to me, eavesdropping on my thoughts, and if so, maybe my mother is too. The thought of her, as always, gave me a jolt of hope, and a burst of energy, and a stab of sorrow.
He did not write this.
I missed my mother every day, but that day on the verge of that nerve-wracking rendezvous at Frogmore, I found myself longing for her, and I couldn't say just why. Like so much about her, it was hard to put into words. Although my mother was a princess, named after a goddess, both those terms always felt weak, inadequate. People routinely compared her to icons and saints, from Nelson Mandela to Mother Teresa to Joan of Arc. But every such comparison, while lofty and loving...
Let me interrupt you there, Harry.
Hold on, let me finish the sentence. While lofty and loving, also fell wide off the mark.
Nelson Mandela, ex-terrorist / current ex-freedom fighter, whatever you want to call him, compared... Okay. Joan of Arc, crazy female murderer.
Yeah.
These aren't really people to be compared to, Harry.
Mother Teresa wasn't an angel either.
These aren't people to be compared to, Harry.
No, they probably aren't.
No, they're probably not.
Anyway, my mother was the most recognisable woman on the planet, one of the most beloved. My mother was simply indescribable. That was the plain truth. And yet, how could someone so far beyond everyday language remain so real? So palpably present, so exquisitely vivid in my mind? How was it possible that I could see her, clear as a swan skimming towards me on that indigo lake? How could I hear her laughter, loud as the songbirds in the bare trees, still? There was so much I didn't remember, because I was so young when she died. But the greater miracle was all that I did. Her devastating smile, her vulnerable eyes, her childlike love of movies and music and clothes and sweets and us. Oh, how she loved my brother and me. Obsessively. She once confessed to an interviewer, "Well, Mummy," vice versa. Maybe she was omnipresent for the very same reason that she was indescribable, because she was light, pure and radiant light. And how can you really describe light? Even Einstein struggled with that one. Recently, astronomers...
The fuck?
It gets better. Recently, astronomers rearranged their biggest telescopes, aimed them at one tiny crevice in the cosmos, and managed to catch a glimpse of one breathtaking sphere, billions of miles off and probably long vanished. Arendelle is closer to the Big Bang, the moment of creation, than our own Milky Way, and yet it's somehow still visible to mortal eyes because it's just so awesomely bright and dazzling. That was my mother. Thank you, Henry. He's a star, is old Henry. Thanks for coming on, mate. Cheers. He does read it well, though.
You know what? Me and I'll tell him. Me and John needed to chat during that intermission.
Yeah.
He had to fucking phone me.
Yeah. Well, I had to mute my mic so you wouldn't hear me.
Yeah.
And if I'd unmuted my mic, I could have spoke to Ben, but then you would. Well, you might not have heard me, right? But the problem
just see
is,
him, right? I just see him.
I couldn't hear Ben over the audio.
Imagine I'm John. All I see is this on the camera.
Yeah, your video looks brilliant, Trudy. We love it.
Yeah.
Oh, pardon me.
I saw a very constructive comment from Harold a minute ago. He
Oh,
said,
that's
"I think
unusual because
Harry-"
normally he's a fucking sarcastic bastard.
Yeah, well, this is in that vein, I think, as well. But he said, I think Harry fancies his mum.
Yeah, no, I think he does. I think he does.
And Trudy asks, did you like my video, John and Ben?
I just mentioned that, Ben.
Yeah, it was really good. You just laughing your ass off. RCW says Harry has caught Meghan's narcissism by proxy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he definitely has. What are you opening now?
Oh, old speckled.
Is it another ASMR moment? Oh yes.
Barmaids everywhere are now turning in their grave.
Oh, Jesse says that sounded good. There we go. And ladies and gentlemen, that has been another Chasing Dissent ASMR moment. We give you everything on this show, right? It's like H3H3 podcast. It's like I'm like Ethan Klein if he was good looking, right?
Who's Ethan Klein?
Go and look him up.
I'm
He's
gonna
one
have
ugly
to.
bastard.
What does he do?
He does this.
Does he do audio podcasts?
But he does audio, he does visual as well on YouTube. H3H3 they're called, right? And he started off very much on the same vein as us and very much with the same thinking style. And he's shifted further and further and further and further to the far left over the years. And it's gone a bit creepy. And as he shifted, he's expanded, right? So
Right.
he's got fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. And he's starting to look like the human embodiment of Jabba the Hutt.
I lost 7 pounds this week.
Good for you.
Thank
Good
you.
for you. I mean, I lost a lot more than £7 this week, but
I got my jacket back on as well.
that's good for you. I lost a lot more than £7 this week, but that's financially, John.
Yeah. Well, we've all had a few financial setbacks.
Militant
Right.
Mushroom says he's had a few creepy moments too. Yeah, I mean, Ethan. I will try and send you a picture of Ethan Klein. I'll try and put it in the slides. Let me just work out how to do that. You keep talking. I'm gonna.
Yeah, okay. I'll keep talking. What am I going to talk about now? Let me see. Hold on. Right. Oh, Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin to be charged with involuntary manslaughter. Your thoughts? Yes or no?
Yes and no.
Okay, well, what is it? Yes or no?
Oh, well, I understand the thinking behind it, certainly, but
Well, what would you charge him with? Murder?
I don't think I'd charge him with anything, unfortunately.
Well, see, I disagree.
Well, no, because
No, right. Okay.
give
You make your point. Make your point, and I'll refute it.
well, my point is this: that the production Rust had an armorer,
Yeah.
right? That armorer is
Yep.
fully responsible
Yep.
for the state of, well, not only the state of the weapons, but actually providing the weapons, right? So she provided the weapon. That weapon went through the hand of the assistant director, I believe,
Right. Okay.
who then handed it to Alec Baldwin and told him, and this is the official story, and
Yeah.
it's probably on camera,
Uh-huh.
weapon is cold.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I do think it was incumbent on Baldwin, and this is why I say yes and no. I do think it was incumbent on Baldwin to do a final check himself of the weapon, but I don't think a lapse in judgment like that, when it's been through a professional that is supposed to be the one arming it, and the assistant director who is said to have checked it and said it was cold, I don't think that lapse in judgment amounts to an involuntary manslaughter charge. And I know the
No, I
family
don't.
wanna
I
hear
don't
that.
think it does either. I think it amounts to murder. Involuntary murder, non-premeditated. But I mean, effectively, he shot that woman, right? And he handled a live firearm that was loaded, right?
Yeah.
Now,
What people don't
he thought
understand is,
it doesn't matter that he thought it was loaded with a blank. He shot that woman, right?
well, no, he thought it was loaded with nothing.
Well, regardless, he should have checked. It's his responsibility. That's a lethal weapon, and before you fire it, there's a number of things. One, are you satisfied that the weapon is safe to use, right? Are you satisfied that it's not going to harm someone? Are you satisfied the target is not in the range of the weapon, right? Are you aiming the weapon at the right point? Okay, so there's a number of those things. First of all, if he's shooting down the camera lens, he shouldn't have hit her anyway. Because the viewfinder for movie cameras isn't behind the lens, it's off to one side.
Yeah.
Right? So what the fuck was he aiming at? Second, why didn't he check the weapon? Right? Thirdly, if he had no knowledge of the weapon or guns, as some people have mentioned, right? Like, for instance, that freak, what's his name, that other, oh God, I can't remember, some star something, you know. Anyway, if he had no knowledge of the weapon or gun, right, he should not have been handed a live firearm unless he was totally comfortable with it and knew how to use it.
Well, see,
and knew basic range safety. He doesn't even know basic range safety. This is what's wrong with America, because...
How does a man that's an elderly, let's say, and it's been in so many movies where he's carried a gun, not know basic range safety?
Well, exactly. That's my point. That's why he should have been charged. Probably with murder. I would have started with murder and let it roll down in the court.
I don't think most people, and many of our viewers might.
I suppose the only thing that's saving him is it's unlikely it was premeditated murder.
Yeah,
but it's still murder.
It definitely wasn't.
But it's still murder. Still manslaughter.
Well, okay, I think you've made a compelling point. I really do. And also, I do agree with the other two people being charged.
Hold on, who's RCW? He says Baldwin was carrying live rounds on his belt.
That's not something I know to be true, so I can't say that as a fact. But she is still dead, right?
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Right? And once again, I agree with the other two being charged as just as culpable, if not more so. If not more so. Now, am I saying Alec Baldwin is not in any way culpable? No, he is. He is the one that pulled the trigger. And he is the one that obviously had the lapse in judgment.
Yeah.
But what people don't know, and what a lot of people would be shocked to find out, I think, is when you see guns in movies, they're not prop guns. There's no such thing as a prop gun, right?
Well, yes, there is. There is prop guns.
Yeah, they're real guns that have been either deactivated or are firing blanks.
No, not necessarily. I mean, many movies use fake guns, completely fake guns, right? That are like BB guns and they fire plastic pellets.
Not so much.
Some movies do. Right?
Yeah, so a cheap movie like Redcon 1 might.
Yeah. No. Redcon 1 used real guns.
There we go.
Yeah, we had real guns.
But for the vast majority of Hollywood productions, the guns you see, what they call a prop gun, is just a real gun.
And I had a real gun. I had a real gun in Redcon 1. I had a
shotgun, didn't you?
I had a shotgun, yeah.
And that's why you have an on-set armorer, right? If they were,
and that's why we did have an on-set armorer, right? And when we were given the guns, first of all, he interviewed you on your experience of firearms before he selected you for having a weapon, right? To clear it and make sure it was safe, right? And then, only then, were you allowed to take the weapon and proceed into the area where you're going to shoot.
That makes sense. But I just don't... I agree with all three of them being charged with something. I think personally, despite the fact that Baldwin was the one who pulled the trigger, I think the other two hold a great weight of responsibility here.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah.
Especially the armorer.
Yeah, the armorer should never work again.
Oh, I think she's definitely done. Apparently the sound's cutting off, John.
Whose sound?
It's probably mine. It's probably being limited, isn't it? Let me change that. That should make a difference. Now I should be able to.
What did you do?
Turned on original sound.
Oh, did you not have it off again? Why did you have it off?
Because it automatically has it off and I forget to fucking turn it on.
Mine never turns off. It always stays on.
Yeah. So it should be better now. It should be way better.
Should be better now, people.
Yeah. According to Trudy, it's still cutting off, although the connection is excellent. So maybe you want to...
Has anyone else got any issues with the sound, first of all? If anyone else has got an issue, then fine.
Well, Chrissy's saying it is, but RCW's saying it's not.
YouTube has lag. YouTube, I had a lag.
Well, yeah, we're still getting an excellent connection.
Well,
How many frames have you dropped?
Artifact in Reality said we have dropped 0 frames.
Then it can't be our end. If you've dropped 0 frames
So
on the stream,
Harold says the whole stream cut out a minute back, and yes, the whole stream did cut out, but I think that was a YouTube thing because we haven't dropped anything.
just refresh it.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's back on YouTube. It went white. The screen went white for a minute with the buffer in, and then it came back on straight away.
Oh.
It takes us 10 seconds to change. Yeah, well, Beats Crate
Craig
says it's all
says-
fine.
Yeah.
So right,
every
so if
refresh.
it's fine for some and not fine for others, then the problem lies at your end, people, and
Or
there's nothing
YouTube.
there's nothing we can do about that, or YouTube, you know, and we can only apologise for the
Trudy said it's
crappy
all good now.
platforms.
Yeah, well, this is it. And you know, going back to what we were talking about near the beginning of the show, everyone here is beholden to big tech, and I mean, we are, and that's why we simultaneously stream on Rumble.
Yeah,
And so, if you want to go and find us on Rumble, if you have an account on Rumble at Chasing Dissent Official,
yeah,
and you want to watch us over there, then feel free to do so. Because if we're ever cut off from YouTube, if they stop John's channel, if they say to John, you know, you can't be here anymore, we will still be live. We'll be live on Rumble.
yeah.
You know, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 2 p.m. and Fridays at 9 p.m. We simulcast on Rumble. We simulcast on Twitch, and we are simulcasting on Twitter at the moment. And if you're watching on Twitter, please go over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/.
Well, that's been the last.
Official.
Is this the last one on Twitter?
This is the last one for a while. That's going to go out on Twitter. Because we want people that are over there to come over to YouTube and
And
help
we
us
need-
grow our platform.
We'd need to pay if we wanted to keep it on Twitter after this.
Yeah.
Because we're only allowed one stream.
Yeah, it's
It's as
getting
simple
to
as
that
that.
point.
Yeah.
It's looking like refreshing has worked, and everybody else is saying it's fine now. So I
Yeah.
think it was probably let's to quote Andrew Tate, a glitch in the matrix.
Yes, indeed, and I think Jay's right. Why should there be live ammo on set?
No, there shouldn't be.
You're right, Jay. There's no reason for live ammo to be on set. Should only
No,
ever
they-
be blanks.
Should only ever be blanks. Or no ammo, and add the muzzle flashes in post.
And remember, just because you've got a blank doesn't mean you can't kill someone.
Well, exactly, because a blank is just it's still a cartridge with gunpowder in. It's just not got the.
It's just got a
the-
paper cap on the end.
instead of the metal projectile.
Yeah.
It's just got a paper cap on the end, but it's still a cartridge. It's still got gunpowder.
And it
It's
will
just
start
modified.
if you put a pistol, say, with a blank in it against someone's head and pull the trigger, you would kill them.
Yeah, you,
Especially at the temple, because
Yeah.
that's quite a thin bone. You just go
Yeah.
straight through it and kill them.
yeah, it's true. Greg Romford said, "Evening, or which one of you is firing blanks?" Well, we're both
Well,
fathers.
none of us are firing blank, mate.
We're both fathers, so
And you can tell people that have had vasectomies because they end up with that kind of you know that kind of pasty face like the twins out of Neighbours had, that kind of pudgy face. So
Yeah.
people that get vasectomies tend to have this pudginess about them that kind of makes them look like Billy Bunter or something. It's weird.
well, I was going to say to you actually, you might not know this, and
Go on.
I actually had one booked,
Yeah, so did I. I had one booked.
and then the lockdowns happened.
Right. I had one booked way back, many years ago. And it fell on my birthday, and I said, "Fuck that! I'm not doing that on my birthday."
yeah. Happy birthday to me, slice.
So I decided, no, I'm not having that. And then after looking into it, I thought, hold on a minute, because there's a few things seem to affect people that get vasectomies. So I thought, maybe not. Maybe that's not the thing to do. You know what? You know what they say? If it ain't fucking broken, don't try and fix it.
Exactly, and you know there are. Whilst at the end of the day, it can be a convenient way of mitigating becoming a father again. It can be a convenient way of doing that. Why put yourself through it, man? Why put yourself? And I don't know why I was contemplating it. I just don't think I want any more children. But I'm also at the same point in my life now where disability probably means I'm not gonna have any more children anyway.
Yeah.
So what's the problem?
Yeah.
Why would I need? And I'm sort of glad it got cancelled because I probably would have gone through with it back then. I'm not
me.
doing it now. Not doing it.
No, definitely not.
Like John said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right, here's the story for you.
Go on then.
Well, this one's quite spicy. Maybe
It's like a space.
maybe we should go into Elon Musk first.
What? No, I want. You've teased me. You've tickled the balls now, John.
Okay. Ghislaine Maxwell's unofficial biographer
Right.
has suggested that Meghan Markle may have met Prince Andrew via Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein years before she met Prince Harry.
Where is this coming from?
This is what you mean the platform?
Yeah. What have you? Where have you read this?
It's come from Geo News TV.
Right.
Yeah, it's a kind of tabloid thing, but it's not like a Sunday Sport, right? And in the UK's the Steeple Times have reported it, right? A renowned journalist tipped them off to inquire whether the now Duchess of Sussex met Prince Andrew as a friend of the convicted paedophile Epstein before she met Harry. And the question was revisited by Summers, the author of Ghislaine Maxwell, an unauthorised biography, in a new podcast shared on YouTube, which explored the connections between Markle, her close friend Marcus Anderson, Epstein, Maxwell, and Prince Andrew, suggesting that Markle's friend Anderson may have been a connector to Epstein as far back as 2001. What age is Markle? She's about 40 now, isn't she?
Yeah, something like that. She's older than him.
Yeah. The Summers shared that the media may find a photo of Markle on a yacht in Phuket, Thailand, cavorting with Prince Andrew.
I can neither confirm or deny that.
No, I mean, we can't confirm or deny, but it's like, it's a fucking good one. Imagine if you're dirty pedo. Well, he's not really a pedo. And I know people might castigate for this, but what he did in the UK isn't paedophile.
No, it's just creepy.
Yeah, it's an old guy shagging a young girl, and that happens all over the world.
It does.
And
especially for money.
You get old women shagging young guys as well. It's just not as creepy for some reason. Okay?
No, and I will say this. We age like a fine wine. Look at John here. He is absolutely stunning.
Thank you, Ben.
Stunning. Yeah, right. George Clooney ain't got nothing on John.
I'm a year younger than George Clooney.
And Craig Campbell says he was using trafficked women, and that absolutely is the problem. Chrissy says she's cougar and proud.
Well, there you go. See what I mean?
Trudy says too, right? And the thing is, it is a bit creepy, like a 50, 60-year-old man shagging a 16-year-old girl. It is a bit creepy.
Yeah,
but it's not illegal in this country.
No, it's not.
Right? It's not illegal, and also, we've got the cougars in the chat here who are cougars and proud.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
You're right. It is a bit weird. I mean, obviously, in America it's different. They have different ages of consent.
It depends on your state. Generally, it's 18. Generally, but there are some states that are 21.
So in this weird sort of.
And then if you go to Japan, it's 13.
Did not know that.
Some of these Far Eastern countries would open your eyes, mate. Indonesia, yeah. Fucking incredibly
Jay Franklin
low.
says, when I was 23, I got hold of a 45-year-old. I could say something else, but I will talk to John before clearing that.
Okay.
Because, anyway. Because I was not yet 16. That's all I will say.
Yeah. So anyway, there you go. So I think it's quite interesting. Imagine if Prince Harry is batting from a field of non-strength here. 'Cause
Yeah.
Merkel's been around. Well, I'm pretty sure Merkel's been around anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
She's no stranger to it.
No stranger.
No stranger.
Let's move on to that bint Jacinda, shall we?
Yeah, okay.
Hello, John. I'm resigning. I'm resigning, John.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's a very laudable thing for her to have done. Very laudable, very laudable. But the thing that gets me are the people that are now coming out saying that she was a fucking wonderful person and did a great job. Like Femi. I mean, now we know the guy's a fucking complete and utter idiot, right?
Yeah.
But he's saying she had one of the best responses to COVID. Okay?
Did she?
Apparently. Does he not realise that...
Okay, so...
Does he not realise the situation in New Zealand right now in the summer? Because it's the summer in New Zealand right now.
Right, John.
Yes, Ben.
So before the show, I ran a snap poll for a few hours.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm just going to read it out to you because this is going to tell you... only 24 people voted because I'm pretty sure I'm being shadow banned on Twitter despite the fact I'm fucking paying them.
Your poll was only up for how long?
3 hours.
All right, okay, because I saw the poll go... I didn't see the poll go up, but I saw the tweet. I went to vote on it about an hour before the show, and the poll had already finished.
Yeah, it was up for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right? And like I say, with over 10,500 followers, only getting 24 votes, I'm pretty certain, despite the fact I'm paying to be lifted up, I'm still being shadow banned. Anyway, this is going to tell you about her response to COVID. It's not definitive, it's just a snapshot, but
Yep.
I said, poll, please share. In honour of Jacinda Ardern, I propose we rename Stockholm Syndrome to Auckland Syndrome.
Yep.
Can't exactly put that on Sweden after the last 3 years.
Yep.
Then I said, have your say on tonight's show or for tonight's show. And the two options, keep it Stockholm, change it to Auckland. 91.7% said change it to Auckland.
And who voted against it?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty that's pretty conclusive, isn't it?
And like I say, it's not a big. It's probably as big as a source or a share of people that, as YouGov often get, to be honest.
Yeah.
When they come out with their 97% of Brits say this, and they've polled like 6 people.
Yeah.
But
which is another one of Nadim Sahawi's outlets.
yeah, yeah. Craig has put a little joke in the chat. I'll read it out for you there. He says, I overdosed on Viagra. It was the hardest day of my life. Yeah, YouGov, the soy jack pollsters. Harold calls them. Trudy says, not me, although I usually don't read them properly and vote the wrong thing. So she didn't vote for change. Well, she might have actually. I think she voted for Keep It Stockholm. I think she voted for Keep It Stockholm, and that's why she's saying not me.
Facepalm. Right.
Yeah.
So, right. Now, the people that have come out in support of him, like Kim.com.
What the hell is he thinking?
But he knows her, and she's not a bad person.
Don't care. She is.
Yeah.
Remember, John, that is what it is.
Yeah. So we've had Femi, Kim.com, and Pink. Pink thinks she's done a brilliant job. Now, I have to mention our friend Mark Changizi here.
Right.
Because he weighed in against Kim.com.
Good.
And he said that Kim.com is a fine example of what people do. What they do is they take and because Kim.com blamed the UN government, right? Because Kim.com has a fucking, I'm just going to call him Kim. He's got a beef against the US anyway, right? Because
Yes,
they
he
want
does.
to extract him from New Zealand, extradite him and prosecute him for his stuff with what was it? Bitcoin and mega uploads and all that.
Mega uploads, mostly. Yeah.
So yeah. So what he's saying is that this is what people do. They tell you that people are actually, or they believe that people are actually acting properly, but they've just been taken in by some mustachioed anti-hero in the background, that you blame for what this other person has done. No, you fucking don't. No, you don't, people. These people were elected to represent you. If they weren't up to the job, they should have resigned on the spot. If they were up to the job, they should have made their own fucking decisions. They are not beholden to another country. They are not beholden to the WEF. They're not beholden to WHO. They're not beholden to the UN. They should make their own decisions. And they didn't. None of them made their own decisions, apart from Anders Tegners in Sweden. And the Japanese, and the Japanese didn't even make the decision because the Japanese are constitutionally bound not to do what the WHO told them to do.
I mean, let's say that, in these countries, some people voluntarily of their own accord did these things, like Tokyo Disney shut down, and
but that's a corporation. That's not the country, right?
They were never forced to. Right, no. And it's like the same as in Sweden. Some businesses closed, but they were never forced to, because they couldn't force them to. Like they couldn't force them to mask, they couldn't force them to do this, that, and the other, because constitutionally they couldn't. But they were the litmus test, weren't they? They really were the litmus test. And then when we look at the data, the real world data says they got it right.
Yeah.
And by that I mean, when we elect these people to represent us, we elect these people to represent our interests, our best interests. They should have our best interests at heart. And they'll say they had our best interests at heart when they willfully destroyed our economies. They didn't. Right? They'll say, oh, we did it for you. We did, but you were only thinking about one thing. Let's say you didn't destroy the economy on purpose, and I'm dubious that you didn't, to be fair. Right? But let's just say you didn't. And let's just say you really were scared and you really did think this was all about health and everything. You were told, Boris Johnson, you were told by the University of Warwick that the cure would be 10 times worse than the disease.
It was.
You were told that. And still you went, let's do that. That's not representing the interests of your people. That is holding yourself, feathering your own nest, destroying and controlling the population. That's putting yourself up on the pedestal and saying, look, I'm doing something. When you know that something is not in the interests of your people and never fucking was.
100% right, mate.
And Jacinda's one of the worst offenders.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm going to say this. I'm going to put this out there. Mark Changizi, right? If I was a woman, I'd want you to have my babies.
But you mean you would want to have his babies?
Sorry, yeah. I'd want to have his babies. He's that like fucking Mark. Good. You know what I mean? I do like Mark. He's a stand-up guy.
You know what? I'm not even going to apologise for that little rant. Normally I go, sorry for going off on that motor rant. I'm right.
No, you're right. I mean, and a whalloper is a complete and utter arsehole. That's what a whalloper is.
And that's what Chrissy is.
I'm not really that pissed, to be fair. I've only had 2 beers and a small not JD, a Captain Morgan and ginger ale.
I'm always open, by the way, to having my mind changed. And if people genuinely think I'm wrong and they think anything that I've said there is wrong, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. And my thinking will come over to your way.
Well, nobody does. Nobody ever does. I put this up all the time. These people make these extraordinary claims on Twitter about how some things are safe and effective, how they saved so many lives. I mean, and Trump, let's talk about Trump in a minute, but yeah, you know, how something saved so many lives. And all I ask for is, could you please show you're working?
Yeah.
Show you're working with data. And that's all you've got to do, and nobody can. And you can't come back at me to prove them wrong, because I don't need to, because I didn't make the extraordinary claim. They made the extraordinary claim. They've got to prove it right before I'm allowed to refute it.
If you want to tell me, and let's say, we'll move to Trump. If you want to tell me millions of lives have been saved, or hundreds of millions of lives,
prove it.
Prove it.
Do not ever show me a computer model, because that's not
correlation.
Proof.
Do not show me correlation.
No.
I want to
Prove
see
it.
causal evidence that A affected B and created C.
Mm-hmm.
And I've not seen that in anything to do with the last 3 years.
No, I've not seen it either, mate.
No. All I have seen is poor data, medical professionals going on internationally, going on TV and lying to people, and I think I can safely say that because we can show the receipts.
Yeah.
We can show the receipts, like doctors on Good Morning Britain saying after 2 weeks you're 100% effective from hospitalisation and death. You weren't.
You will.
It wasn't true, right?
And they've come round to saying that that's not true.
They have come round, but the thing is, they want to rewrite history and say we never said that.
But
We've got them on camera saying it.
See, this is the problem with the internet, because you have this thing called the Wayback Machine and various other devices, and you can go back and you can see exactly what people said.
Yeah, but it's even worse than that, because, we personally hold video clips of these people saying this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have video clips of them saying it. So all they actually need to say, all they need to turn around and say was, that's what we thought was true at the time. We were wrong. Sorry.
Yeah.
But they don't do that. They turn around and say, Fauci's the prime example of it. I never said that. I never said lockdown. He says that all of the time. I never said lockdown. Yes, you did. We have you on camera so many times saying it. So just say, maybe that advice wasn't good advice, and I will take, I'll take that on board. And but they don't. They just still want to paint themselves as these trusted experts when they keep saying things that fucking aren't true. Friday. Fucking Friday. What is that song? Friday, gotta get... Remember that song?
What, the Katy Perry one?
No, it was some shitty YouTuber.
Black. No, Rebecca Black.
I don't know what her name was. Friday, gotta get down on Friday.
Was that Rebecca Black?
I don't know who it is. Some shitty YouTuber.
Come on, chat room, tell us.
Jesse says, no, Ben!
No, who was it? Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Come on.
Harold says...
it was Rebecca Black. It was Rebecca Black.
I'm a bit concerned that you know that.
I know everything. You should know that by now.
Well, actually, between us, we know everything.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, I probably do know it.
Yeah.
You may. I'm not going to lie. He is certainly more life experienced than I am. That is true. He has got nearly 30 years on me, right? But you come here to look at. You come here to look at me. That's why you come here.
I don't come here to look at you. Pillock.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to them.
Oh, them. Right, okay. I thought you were talking to me.
No.
Maybe I'm a bit drunker than I think.
Maybe you are. Maybe you are. And for the last 20 minutes, can we just laugh? Can we just lighten the mood?
Well, let's do the last one I was wanting to talk about, which is that clown Musk, right?
Yeah.
So,
you can't even get your words out.
No, I know. I mean,
he is pissed, isn't he?
He made a tweet the other day, right? There was a tweet the other day about how often do you dream about life on Mars, right? And everybody's going on about blah, 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 all talking about Mars, the planet.
Yeah.
And I just posted a picture of Life on Mars, a TV series, and said often.
Do you know what?
What?
It's a god-awful small affair to the girl with the mousy hair. But her mommy is yelling no, and her daddy has told her to go. Do you like that song?
That's good, mate. Yeah, I do like that song. Right? I mean, I
to
like
the place where no one can be seen.
I do like a bit of Bowie.
As she walks through her sunken dream. To the seats with the clearest view. And she's hooked to the silver screen. I do like that song.
Yeah.
I can do the high bit.
So yeah, that was that. But the actual thing I want to talk about with Musk and Twitter is community posts.
Yes.
What do you think about community posts?
I'm a bit concerned about community posts.
Okay.
Because who gets to do it? That's my concern.
Well,
Who gets to do it?
my view on community posts is they're no different from fact checkers, except they're probably worse.
Yeah, but like I say, who gets to do it?
Yeah, well, community posts are on a par with the people that edit Wikipedia.
Exactly.
And Wikipedia, as you know, is the source of all misinformation because it's fucking edited by the lowest common denominator. No, it's not even edited by anyone. It's edited by the lowest common denominator. Almost everything in Wikipedia is a bag of shite. It's not something you can use as a reputable resource. It's not something that you can use as a reference. If you go to university and try and put a paper in with a Wikipedia fucking reference, it will get laughed out.
No, these days it probably wouldn't. And that's
No,
the problem.
apparently it still does. I've checked that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they are not allowed to use Wikipedia as a reference because Wikipedia is not fucking reliable.
Never has been.
Why would a community post be any more reliable?
But once again, who gets to do it? Because if it's a community post, then surely I should be able to make that
That's the thing.
myself.
Who is making these posts? Because I don't know.
No, I don't know either. He keeps talking about these community posts.
Well, I replied to him tonight saying I have a very bad feeling about these community posts. I don't like them, and I think they're as bad as Wikipedia.
Well, I think you're right because, we try, okay, and we don't always get it right. We're never going to get everything absolutely right, but we try here to.
But you know what? Right, before you even go into that, before you go into what we do, you know what? See if someone posts something and they've got it wrong. You don't need a post to tell people that they've got it wrong, because plenty of other people will tell them they've got it wrong.
Well, absolutely.
And that's actually called freedom of speech. Is that not what we're supposed to be looking for here, fucking Elon?
John, that's a very novel concept.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech. Freedom of
In
speech.
Fact, I think I've just exposed my thought of the day for Monday.
I think you might have to think of a new one.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, is that not the case? Why would you?
I'm just concerned that. Well, Twitter is not. It's. I mean, you're still banned. I mean, your original is still banned.
Both my accounts are still banned.
Chasing Dissent's press company still banned.
Yeah.
I've been unbanned.
Yeah.
There was no rhyme or reason to my unbanning. I think it's because some people made some noise on Twitter and said unban him. But I've made noise.
I don't even know if that's. I mean, you need to be a fucking big noise to make enough noise to unban someone. I think. I think the whole thing seems to be arbitrary. I think you just need to keep putting in fucking appeals. I'm saying this is right. I mean, the whole thing is fucking ridiculous. I mean, I get banned for targeted abuse against a politician. Targeted abuse against a politician.
For a joke.
How the fuck can I be targeting abuse against a politician?
Well,
politicians get abused on a daily basis by thousands, if not millions of people. And quite rightly so, because most politicians are fucking arseholes and not worth the money they're getting paid. They shouldn't be in the position. Right. The government shouldn't be there. And you know what? Get rid of the whole fucking lot. Lock, stock and barrel.
You're absolutely right. And do you know what? They also, all of these politicians, they look at you like you are incapable of doing anything for yourself. You're incapable. They must do it for you. Yeah. They must put these laws on you. They must put these rules on you. Because if they didn't do it for you, if they didn't tell you what to do, you would be incapable of distinguishing between right and wrong.
Nanny state, right? A nanny state is... I mean, nanny state and nanny corporation state is epitomised by McDonald's. When they serve you a coffee and it says on it, what does it say on it?
Hot.
Wording. Contents may be hot.
Yeah.
No fucking shit, Sherlock. And speaking of that, what about Sherlock?
I sort of saw something about this. Is Sherlock now black?
So apparently they're going to have a black actor play Sherlock Holmes. Because there was loads of black people in fucking 18th century London. or 19th century London. Yeah, there was loads of black people that were fucking high-class detectives who had a coke habit. Yeah, that's going to go down well, innit? A black guy with a fucking drug habit.
We've got Jay Franklin in the chat who says, "Can I ask you two a question?"
Go on.
Of course you can. We're open books.
What do you mean, and gay? Sherlock gay?
Yeah, he says probably.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
opium.
Is,
Opium.
Look,
yes,
listen,
I know it was opium, but even so, it's a hard drug habit.
They already made Anne Boleyn black. Was it Anne Boleyn? Right.
That's mind-boggling, right? Because
the only reason that they did this, and the only reason they did it with Anne Boleyn, is so that we would have this conversation. You understand that, right? They did it because they're doing it because they want the clout. Because ultimately, their series is going to be shit. It's going to be shit. It's going to be shit content, and the only way to get it in front of people's eyes is to do something controversial that'll get you talking, that'll get you going, and maybe get an argument, and then they can push back and go, look at all them racists that are targeting our show. Speaking of shit shows and what should be a controversy, not race-based one, but what should be a fucking controversy, I watched the first episode of Halo today on Paramount Plus.
Halo the video game.
Yeah, they've made a show. It's 9 episodes.
They made a show of Halo before, though.
Yeah, it came out last year.
No, they made a show of Halo before, way back.
No, they tried to, and it never got off the ground.
I watched it.
So,
but anyway, carry on.
I wish I hadn't done it.
Was it bad? How bad was it?
I mean, the first 10 minutes were good.
Yeah.
The first 10 minutes were like a video game, and you know, we're taking you down that lovely road of nostalgia. And then Master Chief took his helmet off and his name's just John. And we're hearing about his life and his past, and yeah. it's not good.
Right, okay. So Jay's asked us his question and I'm going to answer it, and I'm going to answer it.
What is the question? Read it out.
Well, no, I'm not going to read it out. Well, I suppose... Well, yeah, you can read it out. Have you watched Adolf, the Greatest Story Never Told?
Have you... I can't see that in the chat.
Yeah, it's there. Jay Franklin. Have you watched Adolf, the Greatest Story Never Told?
Okay, anyway, carry on.
Right, so yes, I have watched that.
No, I haven't.
I have. And I can tell you, Jay, that I think there's a lot in it that's interesting. I thought there's a lot in it that is definitely factual. There's a lot in it that doesn't fit with history as it's told to us today. Right? But what I would say to you is you must always remember that history is written by the victor.
Yeah.
Okay? So I think that thing that you've watched is probably a better representation of what did go on, and I believe much of it did happen the way that it's down in there, especially stuff around Rudolf Hess and all that. And maybe even the stuff about Hitler looking for a peaceful way out. It's possible, but you can see what's happening right now with the US and the UK and Europe with Zelensky, right? You can see exactly what's happening there, and you can see exactly what happened with the UK at that point. Not the US, because it took a while to drag them in, but the UK, which was a major power at that point, and France and Germany. You know, you can see exactly what happened there with the UK, France, Germany, and Russia. So yeah, I think it may have happened the way it's possible. It may well have happened the way it was outlined in that story, and it's not something you're ever going to know, because
no. And this is the thing: we can't know, and we can't know the truth if we were not there. It's as simple as that. We can't know the truth of any situation if we were not there. If your eyes, and even your eyes can deceive you, right? But two things. I haven't watched it, so I can't speak to it, first of all. But second of all, everyone's agreeing with me. They cannot see this question.
The question's there. I can read it.
You're the only one that can see.
Right, so it can't be, I mean, unless you can't see Jay. Right, so the thing above it was, Trudy said Little Mermaid. And then Jay said, have you watched Adolf, the greatest story never told? And then Jesse said they need to fuck off.
No, see, on my chat, I've got Trudy saying Little Mermaid, Jesse saying they need to fuck off, and Jay saying that's the question.
Oh, is that because it's got Adolf in it or something?
Honestly, I don't know.
No, it seems to be there. It's there.
You didn't approve it, did you?
No, it's never been asked for approval.
That's interesting. Chrissy can't see it, Jesse can't see it, Trudy can't see it.
I can see it.
YouTube is really
Can you
weird.
see it?
No, I can't see it.
Right, you can't see it. Who you logged in as?
Chasing Dissent Official.
And I'm not logged in as Jason Dissent Official, and I can see it.
Tony says he saw it.
Yeah. So the question was there.
So
in fact,
what
the
I'm
question
saying,
still is there. Hold on, let me try this.
Trudy can't see it.
Right, hold on, people.
Tony saw it. What I'm thinking is going on is we had problems with the show earlier on.
Yeah.
Obviously on YouTube's end. I think YouTube's kind of broken tonight.
Right, can you see that?
See what?
What I just posted.
No.
Chasing Liberty. Jay Franklin, have you watched the Adolf, the greatest story never told?
No.
Well, I don't think I can't account for that. I just posted up. I mean, can you see this?
Tony says I'm on live chat, not top chat. I'm on top chat.
I'm on live chat as well.
So let me swip it over to live chat. Yes, now I can see him.
Well, don't use top chat, people. Use live chat. Top chat only gives you bits.
Wow, did not know that.
Oh my
Learn
god!
something new every day.
Never use top chat. Always make sure you're on live chat. If you're live, always use live chat.
Trudy says she's on live. No, Trudy, at the top you've got a little arrow. It says top chat. Click it down. Click live chat.
Yeah.
It's just above your chat.
Always use live chat.
But yes.
So there we go. Yeah, so that's my answer. You'll never know, mate. I mean, I think there's a lot of truth in it, and there's a lot of, you know what? There's always things on both sides that are wrong. And look at Ukraine and Russia just now. I mean, the potential for propaganda that comes out of, or the amount of propaganda that comes out of Ukraine is unbelievable, right? And the propaganda that comes out of Russia isn't as high. There is obviously some as well, but you don't know what's really going on.
No, you don't.
You won't know until you can count the bodies, you know.
And this is the problem, right? This is the problem. You will never know what's gone on in a situation that you're not in. And like I said, believe nothing you hear and only 50% of what you see these days. Mm-hmm. Because, and you know, I can't stress this enough, and I do stress this a lot on the shows. Yep. You don't have to believe us in anything we say, right? You don't have to agree with us. You have to be entertained by us, right? That's you have to be entertained by us. But hopefully you do agree with us. But if you don't, always push back. We argue with each other. We did earlier on today's show, right? We'll find a holiday to go on together.
Yeah, I mean,
because
you know what? You're supposed to argue with people because you can't get on with people. Well, it's not that you can't get on with people. You can't agree with everything that somebody says. If you agreed with something that everyone said all the time,
yeah,
where would be the challenge? Where would be the excitement? Where would be the differences? How would you learn? I mean, you talk about people wanting to learn, and if they want to learn better tennis, they go and play with someone that's better than them, beats them all the time. Yeah, because then they get better. So why would you never want to challenge your mind to that extent as well? Do you think you're top dog all the time? Do you not want to think about things? Do you not want to change your opinion? I mean, we do it all the time. I've changed my opinion. Ben's changed his opinion. I mean, we do that on a daily basis. We bounce off each other all the time.
And we do, and you see it. You see us do it, and you
Yeah.
see us bring each other to our own points of view on many occasions. I mean, even on this show, he sat there and gone, "You're right." Yesterday, he was very much, because debate is healthy, as
Yeah.
Chrissy says in the chat, and also disagreeing and finding some middle ground or bringing somebody over to your way of thinking is how we move forward in society.
Yeah, but
Banning
but
books,
never.
banning speech, no, it's not going to
Yeah.
work.
You know what? Never go into an argument trying to convert someone to your way of thinking. Just tell them how you see it, right? Because see, if you try and convert them, they look upon you as some kind of evangelist or some kind of like preacher almost, right? So
Yeah.
I've found that the better way is just to tell people the facts and say, these are the facts and this is the conclusions I draw from it. If your conclusions are different, explain to me how I should change my thinking. And
Yeah.
that makes them think about, well, how would I refute his argument without refuting your argument, because they're thinking about how to do it and convert you. So you're putting the onus on them. And it makes life so much easier because you're not in a fight all the time.
Exactly. But do you know, the problem is, and once again, this might sound pretty controversial, but the problem with the people today under the age of 25, let's say, the people that are upcoming, that are going to be your leaders, right, is they have, thanks to your government, and thanks to your government making it basically impossible for a one-income household to exist, you have what's called helicopter parents. Parents that have hovered around their children for basically the entirety of their earlier life because they both have to work to bring in an income. And so they feel guilty about doing that, and they don't tell their children no. Right? And then you get Black Lives Matter, you get the Black Bloc of Antifa, you get all of these people
Just stop
having
oil.
emotional... You get them because they're having emotional outbursts because they don't understand no.
There's a lot to be said for letting old people sort things out. Anyway, I think we're pretty much coming to the end of this because I think we've done a good show.
I think we always do a good show.
Oh, I think we did.
I do.
I'd like to say, if you want to support us, and there's no obligation on you, but anything that you can give us, we really appreciate. And you can get us on kofi.com/chasing dissent or patreon.com/chasing dissent. And anything you give us, deeply appreciated.
And it's going towards my now £500 plus a month electricity bill.
Yeah, and my 1,200 quid, 1,600 quid van rebuild or whatever.
Yeah. So
we're getting there. So
everything
thank you.
Do donate.
Last question before Ben winds up. Do you want the new intro or do you want the regular outro to go out?
What, tonight?
Yeah.
You asking me or you're asking them?
No, I'm asking them. Question to the chat. So
You're letting them.
I'm letting them. Well, I'll tell you what. Shall I put a poll? Can I put a poll up?
No. If you can't afford to donate, then please don't.
Yeah,
Don't. Just sit back and enjoy the show. We're here to. We will be on the air as long as we can keep it on the air. It's as simple as that.
Oh no, I can't
you.
put a poll up because I'm not in as you.
Well,
but anyway.
no. Chrissy says new intro. Trudy says I don't mind. Vaughan says good show, chaps.
Thank you.
New intro from Jesse.
Yep. Okay, new intro it is then. Yeah.
So anything you do donate towards us, and we're going to be completely honest with you, is going in our pockets, right? It's going in our pockets to help us make this better, to give you a better show, to give you better production value. I mean, you can see we're making intros, we're making things like that, and none of this is free. And I'm not, castigating anybody, but none of this is free. And it's not just in what we spend, but also in the time that we put into this. I mean, we put between us 150 hours a week into this, probably.
Probably easy. Yeah.
Yeah. And the most important thing you can do is subscribe, because John's trying to get into the YouTube partner program so that we can take some financial burden off of people, so that we can run some ads. We've got the hours. We've hit the 4,000 hours.
Yeah, and let's face it, YouTube would be running ads on this anyway. right? So they're making money, and we're making nothing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So we've hit the hours required. Now we just need the subscribers. So if you could help us, hit that like button, hit that share button. The share button, very important. Get people to come along. Evangelize. Tell them we are here, and let's all pray together to the science. John.
Shut up already. It's science.
Say your
Good night.
goodbyes, baby. Say your goodbyes.
Good night, everyone. It's been great.
For you.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink, cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars. Crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah.
I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place.